You know the old saying, when life gives you bombs, blow up your friends. That's how it goes, right? Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 Bomberman games.
Sheila, it's me. I don't have a lot of time.
Number 10, Bomberman Jetters.
At all costs, you must stop the gigantic rocket engines in order to protect Planet Bomber.
Based off a Japanese anime of the same name, Bomberman Jetters is a cel-shaded adventure game with enough cutesy charm to crack even the manliest of men. The game allows you to switch between Bomberman and his ally, Max, which will depend on the situation, as Bomberman can use the Pokemon-like creatures called Charabombs, and Max can utilize a screen-clearing blast, which takes pretty much forever to charge. There are also plenty of boss battles and animated cutscenes in between, though the voice acting is a bit cringy at times.
I will burn you to a crisp in a flash!
Still, Bomberman Jetters is a solid title with a lengthy single-player mode, and of course, multiplayer fun.
Not surprising at all.
Number 9, Super Bomberman. In the late 80s and early 90s, when consoles usually only had 2 controller parts, the Super Multitap was a gift from the gaming gods when it came bundled with Super Bomberman. This game not only added 4-player battle mode, but also introduced cooperative play to its single-player mode, so you and a friend can finally play together without wanting to murder each other. But we still can't promise there won't be some shouting. With awesome graphics and a rockin' soundtrack, Super Bomberman perpetuated the fever that only Hudson's little bee could bestow upon the world. Number 8, Bomberman. Well, here it is, the game that introduced the West to the explosive laying lad. No frills here, just bomb the enemies in each stage and get to the exit, and if you're lucky, you might find a power-up or two along the way. Though it lacks the bells and whistles of later releases, and even a multiplayer mode, there's something appealing about the simple graphics, music, and straightforward gameplay. Bomberman's 50 levels of retro gaming bliss are absolutely worth the $10 if you can find a cartridge for it today. Number 7, Neo Bomberman. SNK's arcade juggernaut, the Neo Geo MBS, was the ultimate gaming machine for its time, and luckily, the Bomberman franchise got its own entry on the system. The Bomberman formula is perfectly suited for the arcade experience, since it's an easy game to pick up, difficult to master, and very hard to put down. You'll be hard-pressed not to bump in all your quarters for this quality B-Man action. There's just something so satisfying about watching blocks and enemies burn to ashes under your bombs. Oh man, we sound crazy. Well, we'll still bet that many players frequented the arcades for this title since there was never a release on any home console. Number 6, Bomberman Tournament. This GBHM can be described as an action-adventure puzzle game with role-playing elements. Imagine Zelda combined with Pokemon and loaded with bombs. So, do we have your attention yet? Bomberman Tournament is a prime example of how to take a franchise into a completely new direction and make it a memorable experience nonetheless. This game has Bomberman traveling to different towns, collecting items to create new bombs, and battling with ally creatures called Carabons. Did we mention it also has a classic arena battling multiplayer mode via the link cable? This tiny cartridge is just about blowing up with content. Number 5, Bomberman 64. In the mid-90s, everything was transitioning into 3D, and Bomberman was no exception. The first three-dimensional Bomberman ditched the classic arena-style levels and offered bigger worlds that relied on more exploration and puzzle solving. You'll venture through cities, climb skyscrapers, and even navigate the frozen tundra with nothing but your trusty explosives. The Bomberman purists out there needn't worry, because the battle mode is still as addictive as ever, especially with a variety of stages that all play completely different from one another. Hey, it even had a cheesy commercial, which may or may not have been inspired by a certain web-slinger.
Bomberman, Bomberman, mass destruction across the land.
Number 4, Bomberman 93. The TurboGrafx 16 was largely ignored back in the day because of bigger names like Nintendo and Sega, and gamers missed out on some quality titles because of it. Case in point, Bomberman 93. The vibrant graphics and cheery chiptune music make this game just an overall fantastic experience that could easily compete with anything you found on the Super Nintendo or Genesis at the time. In classic Bomberman fashion, the multiplayer fun is here, along with a loaded single-player adventure. Nowadays, the best way to check out Bomberman 93 is on the Wii Virtual Console, because attempting to afford an original T16 copy will probably involve you having to sell a kidney. Number 3, Bomberman 64, The Second Attack. Bomberman's third and final installment on the N64 improved on everything from the first Bomberman 64, and then some. Bomberman has a cute little partner called Pommy this time around, which can be controlled by the AI or by another human player. Together they must escape a prison and once again foil the plans of evil. There are plenty of items to collect along the way, like food, which makes Pommy stronger. There is also a shop where you can buy a plethora of things, including stages for multiplayer. Here's the bad news though, this game never came out in Europe, and acquiring a cartridge today will likely cost a pretty penny. Number 2, Mega Bomberman. A republished version of the Japanese-only Bomberman 94, Mega Bomberman has our hero traveling to different sections of Planet Bomber to eliminate some robotic pests. Each area consists of large stages to explore that are jam-packed with enemies. Along the way, you can acquire a kangaroo-like creature to ride on, which can allow Bomberman to jump over obstacles and even take a hit for you in a pinch. Though the music may not be as memorable in this one, the gameplay is refined and very fluid. And let's not forget, you fight a monkey controlling a giant banana. That's awesome. Before we blow up our number 1 spot, here are a few honorable mentions. And unfortunately, here's one dishonorable mention. What the hell is this? Number 1, Saturn Bomberman.
Saturn Bomberman!
There are 4 words that seal the number 1 spot here. 10-person local multiplayer. The Bomberman franchise had been pioneering multiplayer gaming practically since its inception, so it only makes sense that it holds the achievement for the most intense local multiplayer ever. To be fair, the game also has a competent single-player mode, in which the player must destroy all of the glowing pedestals in the level to continue, all while avoiding enemies and collecting power-ups. The cartoonish graphics are beautifully animated, and the game also has a relaxing soundtrack to, blow stuff up to. Saturn Bomberman has its place in history as one of the best local multiplayer games ever. It is, in fact, the bomb. Do you agree with our list? What's your favorite Bomberman game? For more top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.